What's happening, everybody? This is MG here, MG Covers, bringing you a brand new handicapping video. NFL season is probably, 4 weeks away from the first regular season game, so really excited about that. We're going to do how to handicap the NFL. I think it's going to be a 3-part series. It might be a 4-part series. We're going to do these every Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, and this is the very first one. So understanding the first key number, let's get started, guys. All right, first thing we have to figure out are what are the most important numbers in the NFL. What I mean by that is NFL is very unique the way the scoring is. So first thing we have to do is we have to talk about NFL margin of victory. But if you look at this chart below, if you look over to the left, it's got the percentage of times that the margin of victory falls on that number. And then at the bottom, that's the number. So the very first one, it shows, and I think this was a chart I got from like 2003 up until like 2016. So a very good sample of games. So if you look at the very first one where it says 1, so about 5% of the time, an NFL football game will end on a margin of 1, meaning like you'll see a game like 28-27. Now, you can always cross there at the numbers, but look at the third number there, the number 3. The number 3 number, this is very important, our first big lesson in understanding how to handicap NFL, NFL margin of victory falls on the number 3 about 18% of the time. So if about 1 every 4 NFL games are going to end in a field goal, okay? And if you look, slide over just a little bit to the 7 there, that's the second most, the number that most games end on, and that's because of the touchdown extra point. So that happens about 12% of the time. So when you put these two numbers together, the 3 and the 7, so about 30% of the time, the game in the NFL is going to end on a 3 or end on a 7, and that's very, very important to know that. That's the first thing that you need to learn. If you're taking notes, you want to write that down. 3 and 7 are your most important numbers. And then, of course, the next important number is the 10, and then this is where it gets kind of interesting. You got the 10, the 14, the 6, and the 4, but the two most important numbers are 3 and 7. In this video, we're just going to concentrate on the 3, and knowing that the margin of victory that occurs most frequently is a 3 and how you can profit from it. So let's take a look at the next screen here. Okay. I was supposed to read all that before. Sorry about that. All right, let's focus on the 3 number favoring the dog. Okay, these are situations to where if we've done our handicap, we've handicapped the game and we think that the dog has a better chance of winning, we're going to look at what the record would be in wagering the 3 number or the number that hovers around a 3, okay? Because a lot of times what you have is the opening line will the line will open at a 3 and then move to a 2, or open at a 3.5, move to a 3, or open at a 2, go into a 2.5. So situations, this is again from like 2003 to 2016, when there was a +2 on the spread line. Record was 26-31, -5 units, so not profitable betting the dog at +2. And another reason for that, if you just use common sense, so we talked about the first lesson is the margin of victory that occurs most frequently is the 3, so it doesn't do us much good to bet a dog at +2. That line really actually favors the favorite. Same deal if we bet the money line, still a losing record. Now this is where it gets really interesting. So at +2.5 spread, and you bet the underdog, you would actually, this grossed out 104 units, won 104, lost 82. So the units won was 22. So that's a pretty profitable strategy, even though it's 2.5 and doesn't actually cover the 3. However, what's really interesting, and this is what I want you to take away from this part, this is one of the secrets in NFL handicapping, is the money line. So, and a lot of people don't really associate money line with NFL. They generally associate that with baseball, which is going on right now, and hockey is really a money line sport. But it's one of the secrets in a way you can profit. So instead of playing the 2.5 spread, if you play instead of playing plus 2.5, you play that team on the money line, which would be approximately plus 125. Now you do not win as many games. What's that? 96 and 89. Hang on one second. Just messed up my microphone here. Okay, back with you. So 96 and 89, but you grossed 120 units. So how you figure this out is you take 96 times 125, where when you're winning the spread games, you're only winning on a $100 bet, you're only winning $100. So it's actually more profitable to play the money line at a plus 2.5 than it is to pay the spread. You can look over a time period, you're actually up 7 units. Now moving on to the actual 3 line. The 3 plus 3 on the spread grossed 279 units. That would be betting every dog at plus 3 on the spread line from 2003 until 2016. It's 28 units. However, now watch this, just the difference in a half. The money line plus 3 converts to plus 140. So to break even, and we've talked about this before, you can go back and look at the chart, you only have to win about 42% of these games just to break even. So at a 50%, so if you win about 50% of games at plus 3 on the money line, meaning like you wouldn't play the plus 3, you would play the plus 140, be pretty profitable. And you can actually see if you play those same games, instead of playing them at plus 3 on the spread line, you play them on the money line at plus 140, it's actually more profitable that way. So that's a very important lesson, and one of the secrets that the sharps know about. So again, just to kind of review this, if you're playing if you see in your handicapping, if you see where you believe the dog will win, and the dog is plus 2.5 or plus 3, play the money line. Okay, so to summarize this and add in a few new rules, rules regarding regarding the 3 number and the dog. Never bet the spread on the dog when the line is plus 2.5 to plus 3. Always play the money line. So you'll be wagering plus 125 or plus 140 on the dog. And like I mentioned before, you can win 50% or less of these games, still be very profitable. Now, when the line is plus 3.5 and we favor the dog, we play the spread. And let me explain why that is. Okay, remember we talked about 3 is the most important margin of victory. So instead of playing the money line, it's very advantageous for us to play the spread line at 3.5 because we would be covering that 3. We could still lose by a field goal. Say we lose the game 20-17, we would still win the game. Half-point wins. One other thing, I'll get into this maybe in another video, but the general rule is never buy points, and here's why. The regular spread on NFL games is going to be minus 110. If you buy a half point, that usually costs about 25 cents. So if you're trying to say the line is 3, you want to play let's say the line's plus 2.5, and you just want that extra 3. Or if it's 3 and you want to get it to 3.5 to cover the field goal and you're playing the dog, well, you pay 25 cents to buy that line up. Your new line is going to be minus 135. That's a lot of juice. Now, check this out. You have to win. So if you convert minus 135 into a percentage, you have to win 57% of these games. That's just to break even. That's not talking about to make a profit. So you would have to be probably, to make a profit, you got to hit mid-60, 66%, 67. That's very difficult to do. And it's just something, as a general rule, you shouldn't do. Okay? All right. So, whoops. Did I skip some stuff? Okay, here we go. Rules regarding the 3 number and the favorite. Now we're switching gears. Never bet the favorite when the line is 3. The reason being that there's exceptions to the rule. The reason you wouldn't bet the 3 line because that's going to fall on. So if your team wins 30-27, it would be a push. Okay. If lines opens at -3 or -3.5, you can line watch, which means you can watch and see if it will go below that 3. So if you see a line of, well, I'm going to cover that in the next one. Let's go to number 2. Number 2, the general betting public loves the favorite lines, so will generally shade to that side. So it's one thing you have to be careful in the NFL when you're playing favorites is that the majority, and there's a huge amount of money that comes in for NFL, so the majority of the general public is going to be favoring playing the favorites. Sports books understand this and realize this, so a lot of times they will shade that line, which means they will inflate the favorite line because they realize that's where a majority of the money is going to go. So you have to always be careful when betting the favorite. Number 3, lines to bet the favorite are -1, -1.5, -2, -2.5. If you see a line -1.5, -2, and you think the favorite's going to win, then that would be a good play on the favorite, because most teams, that going back to that important number, the number 3 team, let's say you bet the favorites, you bet Dallas -2.5 over the Eagles. Dallas wins 2017, you're going to win. Number 4, never play the money line for the favorite. All you're doing if you do this, you're simply overpaying for more juice. So those are the rules covering the 3 as the dog, the rules covering the 3 number as the favorite. All right, this is going to be a fun part. Applying what we have learned. Let's look at some actual NFL games. Now, I don't remember what season I took these games or what week, but these were actual games. Maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago. All right, so let's look at this first game here. You have the Carolina Panthers against the Falcons. Panthers are the favorite at -3. Atlanta is the favorite is the underdog at +3. So if we think back to our rules real quick, remember we do not play the favorite sometimes, but more times than not, we're not going to play the favorite at a -3 line. And so that naturally moves us into a direction of playing Atlanta. However, if you remember from my notes, we're not going to play +3. We're going to play this on the money line. So we were going to play Atlanta +140. So now what happens, if you look below the final score, Atlanta actually won this game 48-33. So you would win 1.4 units, or on a $100 wager, +140. And the beauty of this too, one other thing I didn't mention before, if let's say you bet the quote traditional way, and most people don't realize, let's say, well, hey, I'm going to bet the Falcons, I'm going to play the spread line at +3. If you lose, you're going to lose -110. You have to pay the juice. However, betting the money line, you would only have to wager $100. So that's another advantage of playing the the money line at a +2.5 or a +3 when you're playing the dog, because you don't pay any juice. All right. Whoops. Yeah, +40. I have that circle there. All right. So example number 2, Dallas, San Francisco. Dallas is the favorite -1. San Francisco is underdog, so they are +1. Now, here's something else. If you're taking notes, to write this down. Any game that's under 3 points, it's basically a pick'em game, because going back to the most important number in NFL handicapping is the 3. So most games are going to fall on the 3. So any betting line that's under 3, in essence, is a pick'em game. So in this situation, we got Dallas -1. We'll go with the public here and play Dallas, and we would actually win. You look below, they actually won by 7, which again is the second most important number in NFL handicapping. So that game we just wager the normal amount, risk 110 to win 100, win that game up 1 unit. All right, example number 3. Now, I put 4 games up here because this is the big takeaway I want to take away from this lesson is playing the money line regarding the key number of 3. So I got 4 games up here. This is like a typical Sunday. So let's look over here at this Buffalo-Cincinnati game. So we have Buffalo is the underdog at +3, and you can see where Cincinnati closed as the favorite at -3. Remember, we do not play the favorite at -3 most of the time, and if we feel like Buffalo will win this game, we wouldn't play +3. We would play the money line. The money line would be +140. So in this situation, we actually lost this game, but remember, we only lost a unit, so we wagered 100 to win 140. So let's scroll over here in the left-hand corner. Chargers going up against the Giants. Giants closed as the favorite at -3. Chargers were the underdog at +3. So again, we were going to play the Chargers. We wouldn't play the spread. We would play the money line. And this game we won 27-22. And listen, I can't tell you how many times this happens on a +2.5 or a +3. So your homework assignment when you finish this lesson, go back and look at a bunch of old games. You'll see a lot of times where the underdog wins outright +2.5 and even a +3. Happens a lot. So going back to our example here, so this is the beauty of playing the money line in NFL. So we were 1-1. So we won 140 with the Chargers. We lost 100 with Buffalo. So our actual net amount on a $100 wager, $100 unit, would be up $40 or 0.4 units. So it's again, I can't stress enough of understanding the 3 number and playing the dogs on the money line. Very important. And it's kind of like one of the secrets in handicapping. So again, your assignment for next week when you go through this is look at some old box scores and look at how many times the dog wins at a +2.5 and a +3. As always, that's the end of this video. If you like this video, greatly appreciated it if you would subscribe. Our website, mgcovers.com. There are also links in the description box. You can follow me on Instagram. We have a huge announcement coming next Monday night in part 2. We're going to launch our membership website. We'll also offer, you can be a part of the membership. It's going to be very low cost, a ton of value that you're going to get with that. We'll explain all that, break that down. That's going to be next Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it helps. Hey, and good luck for the start of the NFL season. Peace out.